Woke up this morning, coffee in hand, flipped on the screen, my favorite man. Crafty's on the TV, chipping that stone with obsidian and flint. He's in the zone. He's shaping the future with a hit and a crack, building the legends, ain't no turning back. With every sharp edge, he's teaching the way of the ancients who thrived back in the day. Crafty on the TV, talking that smack, stone carving dreams, never looking back. From Texas to Vermont, Crafty studies us, chiseling the past, building futures for us. Wielding the hammer, he's steady and strong, crafting a world where we all belong. Underneath those layers of dust and grit finds the magic every little bit. A sculptor of stories buried in the ground, each piece he uncovers wisdom abound. With every collision, the sparks start to fly. As the old world awakens, we question why. He's digging deeper where the shadows play, reviving old crafts that could fade away. Crafty on the TV, talking that smack, stone carving dreams, never looking back. From Texas to Vermont, Crafty studies us, chiseling the past, building futures for us. Wielding the hammer, he's steady and strong, crafting a world where we all belong. And in this life, we're all just searching for our place in the world, a way to keep working. With the flick of his wrist, he brings forth the light. In every gray morning, he makes it feel right. So gather around, let the stories unfold. Crafty's our guide through the young and the old. With the sun rising high and the day moving on, Crafty carves dreams till the light is all gone. He's shaping the future one chip at a time. With every creation, he's keeping the rhyme. From the heartland of Texas to the mountains of green, the legacy lives on through the stonework unseen. With every perspective, he's showing the way. Crafty keeps going, come whatever may. Crafty on the TV, talking that smack, stone carving dreams, never looking back. From Texas to Vermont, Crafty studies us, chiseling the past, building futures for us. Wielding the hammer, he's steady and strong, crafting a world where we all belong. So here's to the mornings with coffee in hand and Crafty on the screen, the true heart of the land. With a hit and a crack, he's paving the way through stone and through story. He inspires the day.
Hello, hello. It is Sunday night, Natural Tool Day. And we're going to be napping Georgetown because I got some chunks I need to break down into smaller pieces. I need to turn some big rocks into small rocks. Who do we have in the house? Mr. Jim is the first one. Good evening. Chris Lithick is here. Marty Wybe, hello. Jorge Valadez is here. Dawkinstein. Your Laughter is here. Hey, Scott Goldsberry. One of the first people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Stoneface, number 9. Alan Young, number 10. You guys are on time. Let's see. Mac Bales is here. Andrew Humphrey, hey. Chris says, let's go, I'm hyped. Caught the beginning and I'm not working. Sweet. Andrew Humphrey says, hey Jack, hello, hello. I wonder what kind of shenanigans are in store for tonight. I don't know. You never know. There might not be any shenanigans. There's not going to be that many people, you know, on the live stream, so there probably won't be any trollish shenanigans. There may be some other types of shenanigans. Let's see. Yeah, let's see. Who else? Let's see, who else? T. Willison, howdy. Graylin Landry. Mr. Jim says, I had a nice chat with Ben today about going over to the dark side. Ah, okay. Yeah, Ben is like that. He will certainly tempt you to go over to the dark side. That's for sure. Red-eyed Patriot, Michael's here, our moderator. So if there's any shenanigans, well, Jorge Valadez is the moderator too, but I think, right? Is that what that means? Anyway, I don't know. Yeah, you'll be putting time out, but I don't foresee any problems tonight. Saturdays and Sundays, horizontal format, no one likes it, especially the trolls. They go, nah. They want the vertical format where all the weirdos hang out. Yeah. I'm not saying that we're not weirdos, but we're not those kind of weirdos. Yeah, there's different kinds of weirdos on the interwebs. Yeah. Anyways. We're just going to try to make something. We're going to be making stuff. Yeah. Right? Yeah. What is this? I think this is Georgetown. It's got some weirdness to it. It's got some crackyiola. I don't know what that is. On the outside, it looks like some kind of residue. I'm not gonna worry about that. What I'm gonna worry about is trying to get some clean flakes. By clean, I mean no fractures, no weirdness like that. See if we can get some good stuff. Well, we do have some crackiola pudding in there. Let's see. We could try for a biface. It's nice and clear in some areas. But, you know, if it's going to be cracked right down the center, that's not a good thing. Let me see. Should I use a billet to reduce this instead of the hammerstone? Maybe. Let's try it. Let's try the old billet. This is the Axis deer antler. It sounds like it already was cracked. Yeah. When I was tapping it right there. This has got some stress. Yeah, this rock is stressed out. And if you buy this stuff, sometimes people are selling this stressed out stuff. You're going to be highly disappointed. Highly. I got this for free, so I'm not complaining at all. You know, we can nap some of this stuff. Yeah. We can nap that piece. That piece. These little pieces. Right? These little pieces are not for measly Mises. Some of them are quite challenging. Yeah. Let's see if that works. Oh, yeah. Now, I don't know how reliable this one is, but we can stick it over in the good stuff. We try for a biface out of this. Yeah, I think we shall. I think it's reasonable to assume that we can get a biface. Yeah. I don't know, let's see. If I can get a long blade, it'll just be luck, but I'm going to try it anyway. Yeah, I'll forget that. Decisions. I just got to keep hitting it in that same spot. Yes, get rid of some Cortex. This is chalky Cortex, so we're definitely dealing with flint. Georgetown flint. Yep. I'm going to go for another big flake. I probably should skin off that nasty part. This stuff is good here, so maybe I shouldn't mess with it. Let's try getting rid of this stuff. Yeah, I changed my mind. Yeah, let's get rid of that. Yeah, like that. Yeah. All right, so we get something to bite into right there. Let's see if we can remove a big flake, get rid of a lot of that nastiness in one stroke. Noah Merritt is here. Who else we got? Senku is here. I joined and you broke it. Sorry, I smoked weed and drink vodka. What are you talking about? Why you break it? I don't know what's going on there. I don't want to know. Don't give us no details. No. I don't want to know. Come on. Yeah, like that. That's what I'm talking about. It's starting to become bifacey. Kind of like a biface. What about this chunk? Well, we'll save that for later. That one, I don't know. That one. Let's see. How will just throw it in the chunk bucket. Okay, so this looks pretty good. Yeah. I think we got rid of the nasties. So now it's just a matter of picking at it. That's the easy part so far. This is a little more difficult, but not too bad. Turning it into a biface, it's not too bad. I switched to hammerstone because I can be a little more precise with it. But if it starts going south, like if I'm starting to crush it a lot, I'll switch back over to antler. But I think we'll be alright with the hammerstone. It's a hard hammerstone. I'm surprised no one asked me what the consistency of my stones are that I'm using. I used to get that question a lot. I guess people have learned that there's no way to actually accurately gauge how hard or soft something is. It's all kind of subjective. Some people's ideas of a hard hammerstone are not what other people think is a hard hammerstone. For example, if you look at the archaeological texts, most of them will say that the stones are all hard and the antlers are all soft as far as direct percussion instruments or tools. But there are a lot of stones that are soft, and there are some antler and other bones that approach being on the harder side of things. It's more subtle than just general classifications like that. Yeah, if you look at archaeological texts, these are called soft hammers and these are called hard hammers, you know, depending on the material. They don't realize there's a big range. This axis deer is pretty hard, and there are bones that are harder than this. Like probably the skull of the axis deer is probably going to be more dense than the antler itself. So if I had part of the skull of the axis deer, it might be more dense than that. And that approaches a hard hammer characteristic. Yeah. Look at that smashing. They say that smashing is due to the hard hammerstone, but you can get smashings with antler too, or soft hammerstones. Does it happen more often with a hard hammerstone? It depends on the material. It depends on your tool stone. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Sometimes yeah, it happens more often that you smash the edge. Sometimes no. Depends on the tool stone. I can't be precise enough to get in there and take care of those steppages. I can get rid of that later, but trying to do it with direct percussion like this is difficult for me. Not for some people, but for me, yes. All right, so that was this is the first stage. It's done. I feel like it's done because I'm getting nervous on the next. I always get nervous as the tests change, so I know it's the next stage already. Okay, so let me clean up. I was looking up some stuff today, and I found out a bunch of new stuff. Yeah, how the brain works, and what causes fatigue and burnout and all that kind of stuff. Stuff I did not know. I was not aware of. Let's see here. Where am I going to dump this? I'm going to dump it in the flakes to be sorted. Yeah. Sorted, not sordid. Yeah. Although there are some sordid flakes. Now let's see. We got that. Easy part's done. What was I looking up? I was talking about cognitive impairments and fatigue and stuff. Let's see. I forget what it's called now. Let me get this out. Oh yeah. Context switching. Context switching. I made a mistake and I thought it was contact switching when I heard it in the conversation online. Refers to the mental or computational process of shifting attention or resources from one task, process, or context to another. This pertains to Flintknapping. When you switch your contexts, it's a difficult thing for the brain. Okay? But it has to be done in Flintknapping. Some people are not good at context switching, and that's why they're not successful in Flintknapping, is what I'm thinking. At first, you have to get used to the context switching. The general context is Flintknapping, right? Our process to go from rock to point. But these different stages are also subcontexts within our work. That's why I divide it. I was dividing it because I was just responding to how my brain works, but it turns out that it's responding to the context switching. I'm switching my context to a different process now. All right? The first process is the rock to biface stage. That's one context, where it's a subcontext of Flintknapping. The next is getting the preliminary thinning I call it a separate mindset, but according to that description on the internet, it's called context. You know, that's what the parallel is. It's a useful thing to think about, and it's not discussed in the archaeological texts, but it's an important aspect of Flintknapping. Okay, this context switching is part of how the human brain adapts to these tasks, and how well you can do this context switching is going to determine how well you're going to proceed with these different phases of Flintknapping. Okay, all right. The research says it takes about 20 minutes to get in the zone once you switch your context, depending on how drastic the switch is. Sometimes it doesn't take that long. Like these little sub-contexts don't take that long to switch. But like when I switch to hafting, that's a totally different context. So the brain has to readjust a lot. Like when I do the hafting on these things at the end, it's a totally different context than the napping. So, but luckily the hafting is fairly easy. Yeah, much easier than Flintknapping. But that's what's called the context switching. And the human brain has been doing that for many, many thousands, probably millions of years. On purpose, not just instinctively. And those who could do it well survived better. All right, so let me see what I'm going to do. What am I going to do? I need to apply some percussion. Let's see if I can do this with this billet. Let's see, what do we got here? Prairie Ghost Ken is here. Howdy, howdy. Let me check the chat before I proceed. The checking the chat is also context switching. So that's why I tend to not check the chat too much. Where is this? I try not to check the chat too much while I'm napping, because it's a distraction. All right. Let's see. Does this work? Oh, that's interesting. Let's see. Andrew Humphreys here. I think I said hi already, or no? You're napping glass? Yep. Let's see. Is someone having trouble with the stream? Yeah, we got just pretty much the same old. Hey, Western Ninja is here. Jermaine is here. Hey, guys. Hey, Jim. Long time no see. I'm glad to see. Glad to get to join such fine company. Oh, yes. Let's see here. Yeah, Western Ninja is Dwayne. Who else? Paul Sherman. Thank you for the widescreen. Oh, you're welcome. I prefer the widescreen, but YouTube does not. But YouTube's lame. Tony Williams. I found a good one today. I test them as the best way to see. I'm always looking. Yep. Marty went to bed at 4 and slept until 11. That's good. 7 hours there, right? You need at least 7. Let's see. Yeah, I saw Marty's update on his travels. Tony Williams is here. Noah Merritt is here. Yeah, I think Senku's trying to be funny, which is perfectly okay. All right, what else? Jorge says, Patrick, I seem to be putting a curve in my points during thinning stage. Any suggestions on what might be doing wrong and how to correct? Yeah, when you put a curve in it, that means you're scooping it out too much on one side. You're using flakes that are too big. Yes, you use smaller flakes and you won't install curves as much. That's my advice. Yeah. Ross Wellman says, good evening, everyone. Thanks for the full picture screen. Oh, you're welcome. People seem to like it. Well, the regular crew likes it. The subscribers, the loyal subscribers, you guys, you like it. But the randos on the interwebs, they don't like it. But see, we only have 48 people. That means we have basically loyal subscribers and people that are actually interested in Flintknapping, rather than a bunch of randos. Let me see here. Okay, so Jermaine, can the type of chert have a different cortex if from a different area? Can the same type of chert have a different cortex? Yeah, but it may not be different. Some of it might just be skinned off more. But if the cortex varies a lot, it's probably formed in a different way. Yeah, but you can still classify it as the same type of chert if it's in the same formation. Yeah. They don't classify flints and cherts by the look of the cortex. That, you know what I mean? Unless it's, definitely chalk or definitely limestone. Those are the only things I can think of that would be for sure different classifications. But there's some stuff that looks like Georgetown that has a limestone cortex that naps the same as Georgetown or very similar. This Georgetown has a chalky cortex, so it is a flint. But there's some other stuff that looks like this that has a different cortex that naps the same or almost the same. But they're basically from the same areas. So to answer your question, it can be very similar with different cortex. Yeah. But I'm talking, Georgetown is one example. I don't know about other types of stones. Yeah. I know that some Fort Payne cherts will nap a lot like hornstones. Fort Payne cherts with very thin cortex will nap a lot like hornstones with big thick cortex. But it may be just because the nodules have been tumbled. The Fort Payne might have been tumbled more and the cortex got removed by nature. I don't know. It's beyond my expertise. I'm just telling you from my experience and what I have as far as napping. Let's see. T. Willison, heck, even keeping up the conversation while napping is probably a distraction also. Oh, yeah. But sometimes it's a good distraction because it allows my subconscious to take over so I don't have to do too much work. The object is not to think too much. Yeah. One-eyed dog just showed up. Hello, hello. All right. So let's get back to this. I'm going to be using some antler billet work on this. I'll try to see what that does. This is supposedly high-grade stuff. Yeah. So I got no excuses. I don't know. It's much easier to shape the edge with a hammerstone. So I should just shape the edge with a hammerstone and then smack it with the antler. after I shape it with the hammerstone. Yeah, I want to lower that edge so I can get a better grip on it. Yeah, like that. And it's easier to shape with the hammerstone because it actually removes flakes with almost every hit. Hammerstone is good for getting results. Even though sometimes those results might be too drastic or slow in coming. Dang it, that's not doing anything. I need to lower the edge on this side, but it's not doing it. All I'm doing is crushing it. And not in a good way. So I'm using the flat part on this, and I'm using this part too. Try to lower that edge. See if we can get in there with the antler. Yeah. Yeah, like that. How about near the tip? Yeah, like that. No? Yeah, okay. I can live with that. It was a little bit of a miss. Not quite exactly, but I can live with it. I need a little bit of steeper angle, which is good. Yes, no. And to lower that edge toward the obstacle more. All right, just to be safe. Yeah, like that. Luckily, it's high-grade stone, so I can do that kind of thing. But see, it's starting to chew on the antler. The law of averages catches up to me. I can't always get good flakes, even though I'm hitting that exactly the right spot. Yeah, like that. But I had to move it over a little bit this way, and it didn't go exactly where I wanted. Did I overshoot? Yeah, but it luckily didn't scoop out too much. Or did it? No, that's okay. That was from earlier. That was an incipient. All right, let's see what we got. Come on. It's not doing it. Yeah, finally. Yeah. Okay. There's always physics. Oh yes. You can't defeat the physics. It's gonna rear its ugly head. Sometimes I try to take shortcuts and hit platforms or hit the edges that are not good. But you can't change the physics. Dang it. It doesn't like me on that side. It's telling me I'm taking too many shortcuts. Okay. I just don't want to hit it really hard. I can get rid of that lump if I hit it really hard. I just don't want to hit it really hard. Because that's right in the center. It's going to break it in half if I go crazy. I just got to barely tap it. Yeah, like that. That's better. Come on. Okay. Yeah, like that. See, I know that it can do it, it just doesn't always do it. Yeah, like that. Okay, so we got one big obstacle in there. So we'll deal with that in a little bit. I'm tempted to go and the preliminary thinning is done. Except I usually take care of that obstacles like that, but since we're using natural tools, it kind of limits me. Well, I could try. Let's see. I'm limited at this stage because I don't know if I can generate long flakes that will take care of that without breaking it. I might be able to do it. Normally what I would do, I guess, at this stage, I mean, in the next stage, let me see if I can explain this. Instead of taking care of that now, I can wait until it gets more narrow. That way I can shoot a flake from across the other side when it's more narrow and better chance of removing that. Okay? Right now, if I try right now at this width, I guess I left that part out. At this amount of width, it's going to take a nice strong hit, which I can do, but the strong hit may be so strong and kind of inaccurate because of my practice is not up to speed. It could break it. So that's like a make or break type of damage control type of thing. If I do it right now with this width. But I'm going to try it anyway, see how it goes. Might make it worse, but might have a land bridge there, but oh well. Yeah, it didn't travel. I'm afraid to hit it. So, let's see. Just going to whittle it down a little bit. Yeah, these natural tool live streams are mainly so I can practice the natural tool stuff. And if it helps somebody, that's good. If not, at least I get some practice. Yeah. I needed to remove that, but it's starting to take off too much of the edge. I'll probably need to switch over to indirect percussion for the rest. It's just removing way too much edge. That's how I know I'm reaching the limit of the capabilities. I'm not supposed to be removing a lot of edge. I mean, natural tools remove lots of the edge, but I've got to try to keep it to a minimum, and that's not minimum. So, next mindset change, we're going to do a context switch. Okay, the context switch is occurring right now. There's also a thing called residual thoughts from the last context that can be an impediment to the future progress. Let's see what it says. There's some other things here. Let's see. Yeah, attention residue. Closely tied to switching. Leftover thoughts from a prior task linger, reducing focus on the new one. Worse with emotionally charged or complex work. Okay? So this is complex work. So when you switch over, if you retain your previous thoughts for this next stage, you're going to have difficulty with this stage. But it's also difficult to get rid of your previous thoughts. So it's called attention, or let's see. Yeah, attention residue. Yeah. You have residual thoughts from the previous process. You have to kind of get rid of the irrelevant thoughts from the previous process. Okay? All right. We're switching over to indirect percussion. And all this has been studied. I didn't even know. I didn't even know all this was scientifical with these different brain functions. It's been heavily studied. Okay, all right. Oops. No. Yes. That's the way it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to fuss. Ooh, that's, see, it's removing a lot of the edge. I gotta watch that. That's a consequence of using a lot of force. So I've got to, you know, maybe back off just a little bit without jeopardizing the long flakes. I should probably re-grind this tip, but no. That's going to interrupt the flow of thinking. I found out that's why I don't like tool maintenance in the middle of everything, because it interrupts the flow. Yanks me out of the mindset. Sharpening and maintaining the tool is a context switch. Okay, I don't want to do it right in the middle of everything because it's a context switch. Oh, it went, but too much? Yes. Let's see what that does. It not only took care of the step fracture, but it also went a little bit too good. Yeah. So yeah. That was a good technological move though, right? Yeah. It was a good technological thing. See, the edge is now dropped that down, way down to that side. So that's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, dude, look how cool that just dropped the edge. Yeah, that's cool. No, I didn't want it to be dropped. I don't need to nap this side. It's already flat. I need to nap the other side. So now I got to move the edge this way. See, it's not cool. No. Okay. So make it more narrow. Surprise, surprise. Don't have much choice. It's almost a Dalton preform. Yeah, it's almost a preform for almost anything. Yeah, it's a preform for a lot of things. Yep. A mini little corner tang also. I've been working on corner tangs lately. Okay, let me see what we got in the chat as far as what people are saying. Hey, $5 super chat. Jim Main, $5. At least it wasn't full of alien worms. Yeah. Mini Danish dagger. Danish dagger? Mini? Nah, I don't want to do Danishes. I don't want to do the Danish daggers. Those are too cool. People say I don't do them right. You know what? I should just start banning people. If they say, hey, you're not doing it right, you know what? You might just earn a ban. I think I might start doing that. That way, I don't have to deal with those. I've never banned anybody. They usually just go away after a while, but I might have to start banning people. My Flintknapping journey is here. Let's see. Who else? Mike Mason's here. Just put sinew on my knife. You're making a knife with the sinew? Oh, I'm making some mini knives. I don't know if they'll be available in the auction this time, but I'm going to make some mini knives like this. See? And what's that hole for? It's for looking through. That's what it's for. Yeah. It's for looking through. That's it. But yeah, these are small. Let's see, how small are they? Oh no! And if they don't do well in the auction, I'm still gonna make them. Yeah, I'm still gonna continue to make more. Where's my tape measure? Yeah, let's just throw everything. My copper stuff's all disorganized. This fits in one of my small 5x5 boxes, so I might. Yeah, this is 5 3/8 total length. It fits in one of my small 5x5 shipping boxes. I'm thinking I'm gonna get some 6x6 shipping boxes to make ones that are a little bit bigger than this. Yeah. So let's see. Let's find a haft for our new project, right? We need to make sure we get it thin enough. We have simple handle or a more complicated handle. And this is too big. No. I need to make a smaller. These are too big actually. I need to make some more. I've been selling off my stuff. Yeah, it does need to be thinner. The V shapes are the hardest ones to haft. These V shaped notches. I keep that in there just so people can see how difficult it is to haft it in a V shaped notch. Because look at the distance between the wood and the stone up here at the tip. Now, of course, you don't have to make them with the V's this wide, right? But if it's really snug, there's no room to maneuver. There is room to maneuver right now, but you don't want this big distance between the wood and the stone right there in the front. It means you got to add a lot more glue and goop it on there so you get a smooth transition. More glue is a waste. You don't want to waste the glue because, you know, back in the day it was not that easy to process it. I might just go with this handle here. We'll fit it into this basic handle. Okay, that can be our gauge anyway, right? I probably need to widen the mouth a little bit. It's a little bit too straight. I made that yesterday or the day before. Let's see if I can widen that out a little bit. Yikes, it's cutting me on the other side. Which side should I dull? Should I dull that side? I like this side. Yeah, we'll just dull the chaotic side. That way I don't cut myself while I'm doing this. I'm going to widen the mouth of this. Just a little bit to make it more reasonable. The sides are too straight. I do this on my bandsaw. Now to do the whole notch, I'll show you eventually one of these days how I do the notch from scratch, you know, from just a blunt end. I'll show you how I do it. It takes a while, but once you get used to it, it's not too bad. And the softer the wood, the better, obviously. This one I think is elm, this piece of wood. And I just context switch to this carving. So I got an excuse to say I've been context switching so much it's getting me all discombobulated. If I mess up, it's not my fault. Yeah, that's the vocabulary words for today's boys and girls. Attention residue, context switching. There's a bunch of other ones. Of course, no one's interested in that. They want to see the Flintknapping. I understand it, but if you're not polite about it, you may earn yourself a ban. Because I might start banning the fart heads that comment stupid stuff. Alright. Not that any of you guys are in danger of that. Alright. Let's see. So I'm going to try to get it to fit in this notch. I widened it slightly up on top. I don't need it that much wider. But yeah, it's going to be a gauge. Like maybe I should have this as permanent part of my kit to gauge the thickness of all these points. So they'll all be the same. That would be an idea. Yeah, good idea. No? No, I think it's a good idea. Yeah, if I start doing flutes and stuff, and if I see somebody being a dum-dum in the comments, I'm going to ban them instead of dealing with that. How's that? Yeah, that works. I don't do fluting like other guys. Yeah, it's already straight. Okay, so I just need a little bit of modification to get it finished out. That's it. Yep, just a little bit. Let's see. Noah Merritt says, One-Eyed Dog made a really nice knife handle and blade combo and hafted them recently. Cool. I need to go see. Shall we all go see? I can show it. Is it in the community or on his channel? Okay, I can see where this is going. This is going down the road of... It wants me to take a lot of risks. It's going down the risky road. Yep, we're going down risky road. Risky, not whiskey. Where is my cheater tool? There it is. Let's pick that out. It's bugging me. No, it's not going to do it. No, it's not going to do it. Mike Mason, should I put the bottle down? Yeah, it impairs your cognitive abilities. What are you up to? It's not going to help your napping. No. If you're napping right now, even if you're not napping, those hangovers are hard. Oh yes, I see where this is going. See, this side's already flat. So if I try to do a flake, it does that. It gets all crackly. The typical reaction is crackliness on flat surfaces. Yep. So why am I napping on a flat surface? I need to move the edge that way, so I might as well try to go after some high spots. There's some spots that are little bit bulgy. Even though it is kind of flat, there's still some bulgy spots I can tackle. We're going to need that smoothness toward the end. Yeah, I should try to fix this up with some pressure, huh? Yeah. I need to improve the edge with pressure. That way, if I need to do any further flaking, I can do it probably with smoother flakes. Yeah. Although it's getting pretty flat. It'll help. I'm going to do pressure flaking on it. It'll make it more convex, which is a good thing. Okay. All right, where's my pressure flaker? Here we go. We're going to switch tasks, different mindset. Okay, so that's why normally I check the chat and stuff, just to give my brain a chance to get rid of that residual thoughts. But anyways, we'll skip that part. And I don't need a big long ishi stick. Okay, I've been doing wrist strengthening exercises for many years, so I don't have to use that big old ishi stick. Because I like to keep the kit small, or I don't like anything long. This is like the longest tool that I have, and it's too long. Yeah, I think I need to cut off about 2 inches or 3 inches from this. But it's handy on big pieces, but I might just have this separate as a big piece knapping kit and just keep this one for the smaller size. See, this allows me a lot more velocity than this one. And I think this is whitetail, and it has part of the skull on this side. That's more dense than this side. So yeah, this is mainly what I use for percussion on that side. So yeah, my kits are usually containing items that are this big or smaller, right? Yeah, something like that. I don't like anything larger than this in my natural toolkit. And this is almost too big as a hammerstone for my knapping kit. I need something that's in between. I'm going to go looking for hammerstones. I need something in between these two. Yeah. I got a bunch of quartzite hammerstones in my backyard. I just need to dig for them. I found a couple, but they're like this size. I need one that's right in the middle of these. Okay. Just so you know, it doesn't really matter. Just giving you a little bit of context, I guess. All right, let's see. The toolkit is always evolving, but I'm not going to add any big tools to it. No. I refuse to haul around a big natural toolkit because it doesn't make sense to me. Okay, a little bit too much gusto. I gotta be careful how I use the tool also. If I use it on a sharp edge, it is possible to use antler on a sharp, unabraded edge, but it starts chewing on the antler more than normal. Yep. It's going good, don't worry. I just tend to move an edge into the proper spot. For the next series of flakes, I switch to a smaller tool tip and use the brow tine wherever it is. It better be here. Okay, where is it? You know what? I didn't see it last time. Where's the brow tine flaker? All right, here it is. My little brow tine flaker. I have this one also, but I don't think that's the brow tine. This one is tough. And I can get in there. Yeah, like that. Yeah, like that. Nice. Nope, not like that. Not like that. Come on. Nope, not like that. Yeah, like that. Yeah, I think we can get that thin down. I'm going to cut myself. This is a little bit small for this. I'm using some heavy pressure, and sometimes I slip and I can cut my finger on the edge. Yeah, so let's see how about the other side. Got about the same amount of viewers as last night. Yeah, I'm hitting my finger up against the edge here. So let's see. I got all my antlers out and I put them all in the same spot. I got like 3 boxes of antlers, pieces and chunks, not whole antlers, just pieces and chunks. I need to look for more brow tines that are a little bit bigger than this so that I don't have such a short clearance between the tool tip and the edge. See, I only have that much clearance. And sometimes when I use heavy pressure, that finger will touch the edge. So I need something that protrudes a little bit more. I mean, this one does, I think. I can use it on the lower part, but I still need one that protrudes more. Oh, it's about the same. Yeah, I need one that protrudes further. Anyways, let's change this. Let's see how this works. Yeah, indirect percussion would be better. I can probably run some good flakes, but I'm going to wear myself out. We still got a ways to go. Yeah, like that. Let's see. I'm trying to think, is there a cool point that I can make? I could make a Dalton, I suppose. One-Eyed Dog says, I posted a pair of knives on the community. Still got to wrap them, but they look cool naked. Yep. All right. I dropped the video not long ago. Okay, cool. I'll check it out. Let's see. All right, let's see what we got. Dum-de-dum-de-dum. Community. Newest. Maybe I should unpin. Let's unpin that one. Unpin the post. I guess everybody knows about heat treating now. Alright, one-eyed dog, a pair of obsidian blades. Cool. Yep, no wrappings yet. Hit the like button. Who commented? They are pretty. Makes mine look so rough. Oh, that's not my... that's not for me to like it because it was not addressed to me. What else we got? I'm collecting insulators. Choco Loco Creeker is collecting insulators. Oh, that's interesting. Sweet copper rods. I can't wait to try them. Haven't had time lately. Well, let's see. Hopefully they're not steel on the inside, but they look solid like solid copper. That's cool. Stone face, arrowheads. Yep. All right, well, I'll check that out later. The 2026 Hairy Mosquito Nap-In was a blast. Yeah. I still have not posted notices for the July nap-ins. Yeah. I don't know why I'm not motivated to post these. I still got to look up some of the dates and stuff. There's a bunch of nap-ins coming up. I got to get on the ball, and I'm trying to figure out how to copy paste because my phone clipboard is terrible. I can't copy paste what I want to copy paste on my phone's clipboard, so I'm looking around for other apps that are reliable clipboards. Oh, I did another darn overshot. Yeah, I'm looking for some reliable clipboard apps. I think I found one, but we'll see. If I can get a good clipboard app, I can post a lot of nap-ins without too much trouble. See, if I hit it as hard as it wants me to hit it, I'll get an overshot. That's probably why it wants me to hit that hard, because it wants me to mess up. See, overshots are a consequence of thinning. Okay? It's not a technology. The technology is the thinning. The overshots are incidental, not intentional. In most cases. I mean, some cases they might be useful, but it's like saying in some cases the snap in half-ish is useful. Especially if you want 2 points instead of 1, that'd be useful. But yeah, it's like saying snap in half technology. Because sometimes the snap in half is useful if you want 2 points instead of 1. Right? The usefulness is greater than 0, then I guess it's a technology. That's what they're thinking. But that's internet culture. They use that greater than 0 philosophy way too much. Okay. That one overshot a little bit, but it wasn't too bad. I'm trying to get that out. In addition to removing the lumpage. It removed the lumpage, but it didn't fan out quite far enough. It's getting thinner. Yeah. I like that part. So what can I make that's cool? I don't know. Bill says, friggin' AI told me there are 100% fire-hardened hickory knapping tools, no copper. Is that true? No, that's not true. I can, if you give me like 10 minutes, I can go get the book and show you the copper knapping tools. I got 2 books, and one of them details knapping tools made of copper from the Hopewell culture. Just type in the AI. AI, please describe the copper knapping tools from the Hopewell culture. Okay? Hopewell. There are knapping tools made of copper in the Hopewell culture in the Americas. There might be something else that it will look up, but tell it to look up the Hopewell culture, the knapping tools present in the Hopewell culture. And the fire-hardened hickory stuff is internet culture. It's fiction. You can do it, but we're talking about serious knapping. We're not talking about make-believe knapping. You don't want to use wood for serious knapping, especially if you're knapping quartzite or something like that, like a lot of Native Americans did. Alan Cole says, what did I miss? You missed everything. You should have seen it. There was like a bazillion overshots. It was so cool. Yeah. There was technology flying everywhere. There was technologies flying everywhere. Flakes flying everywhere. Yeah, it only took me like 7 strikes to get to the center of this Tootsie Pop. That's what you missed. Stoneface says, Patrick, was that the copper rod stuck in the antler? Yes, that's one of the Hopewell tools. A fairly large copper rod stuck in an antler. That's one of the Hopewell tools. That's not all of them. There's other ones. And the Hopewell culture also has celts and other tools made of copper that are very small that I think they will probably use for flint knapping. Mike Mason says, I was messing with Grok for info about beans and I'm growing 2 kinds. They told me the yard-long beans fertilize themselves. They gave it a source about the pollinators. AI was like, haha, I'm wrong. I guess. I don't know. I don't know anything about the beans. No, I don't grow beans. Nobody that I know grows beans. My neighbors, they like to grow squashes and cucumbers and lettuce and all the mild vegetables. My neighbor's also trying some cilantro this year. Cilantro. Coriander, whatever you want to call it. I got some I got some leeks growing. So does the neighbor, but his grows faster than mine. I don't eat the leeks, but we're both growing some. Me unintentionally, but the neighbor, I guess he likes them. I don't know. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to pressure flake because I'm afraid to hit this with the indirect percussion right now. It can snap at any moment. Bill says, yeah, bro, AI just reads Reddit and forums and the copy paste out of context crap. Yeah. See, if I go to Grok, the AI, it depends on what AI you're using, right? If it can access the professional publications, you're going to get a good answer. I'm going to type in, can you describe the copper knapping tools from the pre-Columbian Hopewell culture in the U.S. I believe it's part of the copper culture. I believe these tools were part of the so-called copper culture. So-called I gotta type with one finger because if I type with two fingers I get dyslexic. Or if I type with more than one finger, I type out of order. Alright, so can you describe the copper knapping tools from the pre-Columbian Hopewell culture in the U.S.? I believe these tools are part of the so-called copper culture. Let's see if it's thinking, right? It accesses a bunch of stuff. The copper culture primarily refers to the old copper culture or archaic period tradition centered in the upper Great Lakes region. Okay, this is distinct from the later Hopewell culture, the middle woodland, okay, from 100 BCE to 400 CE, centered in Ohio and Midwest. Though Hopewell people extensively traded for and used copper from the same Great Lakes resources. Okay, old copper, complex utilitarian copper tools. Okay, let's go see where it says. Okay, so the old copper complex is famous for one of the earliest, most extensive uses of native copper. It says down here they had projectile points, knives, and ulus, axes, adzes, celts, and chisels, awls, perforators, needles, fishhooks, harpoons, other implements for woodworking, etc. Copper knapping tools from this context include specialized items adapted or made for working stone, flintknapping. Archaeologists' finds and replications show socketed copper hammers or boppers. These were used for percussion flaking. Small copper rods, awls, or pointed tools likely served as pressure flakers. These copper tools were durable, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so you can see artifacts here. These are examples from the copper complex. They used copper for adzes and all that kind of stuff. What did it say here, right? They used it for projectile points, knives and ulus, axes, adzes, celts and chisels, and wedges and spuds, awls, perforators, needles, fish hooks, harpoons, and other implements for woodworking, hunting, fishing, etc. But internet culture says they use it for all of this, but they didn't use it for knapping. But it has been proven that there are knapping tools made of copper. Okay, now let's go down further. Hopewell culture connection. Hopewell people participated in a vast trade network that brought Lake Superior copper and sometimes drift copper hundreds of miles south to Ohio and beyond. However, their copper use shifted towards ceremonial and status items rather than everyday tools. Ear spools, headdresses, breastplates, falcon, effigies, yada yada yada. They did produce some utilitarian copper items like small chisels, awls, wedges, and possible fabricating metalwork tools. Blah, 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 blah. Found in Hopewell sites also feature excellent stone. Some of these may have supported flintknapping or other crafts. Okay. So you get the idea, right? So copper use was extensive. Okay. Let's see. But no one cares. No. I guess no one cares. Well, maybe you already know that. I'm preaching to the choir. Anyways, just so you know. Yeah, Hopewell use copper mainly for ceremonial and decorative items and non-utilitarian items, yes. But they still used quite a bit of copper. And it would be foolish not to use it for flint knapping because it works really well. And there are tools. I got a book that shows the tools. Flint knapping tools. Okay. But yeah, using copper for flint knapping goes further back than the Hopewell culture. It's just, I remember the Hopewell culture because I have a book on it. A friend of mine sent me a book on the Hopewell culture. And I said, dang it. Why didn't I know about this book sooner? Okay, so we're going to sharpen. No. I'm not. I don't know. How much time do I got? I got 30 minutes. I usually go over my time, don't I? Is that a flake or is that just a discoloration? I don't like it when I think it's a non-detached flake and it turns out just to be a discoloration in the stone. Yeah, I hate that. Can't stand it. Yeah, like that. Georgetown works so good sometimes. Yeah, as long as it's high-grade Georgetown. Otherwise, it's not dependable. Obviously. There are some Georgetown flints that are not all that great. Yeah. One of these days I won't cause those little bitty step fractures and crushings and all that as I'm trying to straighten the edge. I just gotta be more persnickety, I guess. That's why I haven't gone there yet. I'm not advancing because I got a blockage. I don't like it. I don't like having to be so persnickety. I know what to do, I just don't do it. It takes me out, it just kicks me out of the focus if I have to be persnickety and keep paying attention, because a lot of it has to do with the tool tip and the quality of the edge. I don't want to have to keep stopping and grinding. But it's one of those things. If I want to be perfect, everything else has to be perfect. If I want perfect flakes, everything else has to be perfect too. Yeah, still. Okay, I see. I see what you want to do. Let's put the black background on here so we can kind of see what's going on. See, I just did that. That means the edge is getting too thin for what I want to do. What do I want to do? I want to run longer flakes. But, you know, I've got to keep grinding and grinding and grinding and thicken up that edge a little bit. So it'll do what I want to do without removing so much of the edge. Yeah. If the edge is really thin, a lot of it gets removed. You can grind it back a little bit and it won't remove as much edge. Yeah. Because the edge will support what you're trying to do without losing too much of itself. If that makes sense. Now, you know, these tools that have thick tips, they produce kind of a wonky, more crude look, right? If I were to use copper tools that have big, thick tips on them, it would produce very similar results. The results have to do with the size of the tools in many cases. Not the material, but the size. If you compare the copper that I use, you can see the difference in size of the tips. This is a lot fatter, so it's going to produce a more crude edge until I can find something that's hard enough, right? That's hard enough that I can use a more narrow tip or, you know, smaller diameter. This axis deer is pretty good, but I don't know. I do need to experiment more with it. It feels a little bit brittle. That's one thing. There's a trade-off. The harder the material, the natural material, the more brittle it ends up being. Yeah, that's just the way it goes. So there's more antler being deposited on the edge with the axis deer. Than with that whitetail brow tine. So I'm thinking that whitetail brow tine is going to be better for pressure flaking than the axis. In general. Okay, yeah, it won't do it. I can't power through that. No. Sometimes I can do a direct attack and it'll work on edges like that have that big old lump or something, but no. I mean, it works with copper, yes. It would probably work if I added more force and grind it more. Let's try that. Try it one more time with more force, more grinding. Yeah, that's not bad. Chewing on the antler. Yeah, I know. I know. Okay. Let's see if it does it. Nope. Nope. It doesn't want to do it. So sorry. Let's see. I don't want to mess with it. I'm just getting rid of the stuff that I'm not able to get rid of with the antler. I think that's it. I think I can do the rest of it with antler. Yeah. All right. At my present skill level and patience, I didn't want to mess with it. So I got rid of the nasty spot there. I got rid of the nasty spot that was there. It fits in the handle that we got with plenty of room. We can probably put it in a different heft. Yeah, that looks a little bit better. Since it got so narrow, now it can be in this heft and not look bad. Yeah. Yeah, I said the hickory was Aboriginal knapping. Yeah. I don't know what it's doing. Yeah, probably looking at Reddit or some other internet culture site. Let's see. Dumpty 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 dumpty. Where's my... Ask the AI for its sources, and it probably will take you to Wikipedia and places like that. Wikipedia is good for some things, but if there's any kind of cultural community associated with the information, it'll be off. And what I mean is, if there's other narratives, the information will be designed to support narratives instead of designed to reflect truth. So yeah, let's get this wrapped up. We got 15 minutes. I could still do a Dalton looking thing. Except I would need to use the copper to do the little flutes in there. It's too risky at my skill level to do the flutes with antler. Oh yeah, I forgot about that little spot. I could probably take that out with copper too. Yeah, I did. Do I need to do anything else? Any other major flake removals? Let's see. Anything there's one spot that's bugging me, yes. Oh, that's not good. I created a step fracture right there. That's not good. That's terrible. Yeah, terrible. Okay. See if I can pop it out of there. Okay. Metal tools, put it in there. Metal tools can take it out. Yeah. See if I can get rid of that metal mark. No. It's hard to get rid of the steel metal marks. The copper is easier. Anyways, that's what I get for trying to make it thinner. Yeah, like that. That part was bugging me too. See how much more of the edge I lose with the antler? It's ridiculous. That's a high price to pay for just thinning that one spot out. But oh well. Just gonna leave it, yeah. We could look in the book to see what we can make other than adult and with this preform. That I have not made before. Dang. That took a big bite. So yeah, I'm taking back the edge just to compensate for that bite I took out earlier. So I have to take back the whole edge because of that one little, or that one big bite there. Okay. You don't need no stinking symmetry, right? I shouldn't worry so much about the symmetry. It just leads to problems. Good enough. Yeah, good enough. It's still kind of wonky, but I don't care. It's gonna remove too much of the edge. You know. All right, so I don't know. Look in the Texas book for Texas points. Yeah, let's make a big old charcoals. See, the Daltons are long and skinny. How about a Darl? Darl. It's too big for a Darl. Edgewood. I need something long and skinny. Ensor? let's see. Is it too big for Ensor? I think it's too big too. See, the real artifacts are even tinier than this tiny thing that I got. See, and you thought that I was making a tiny point. Okay, these are also Darls. That one's as wide as mine. Or is it not a Darl? Oh, it's Ensor. Ensors sometimes are this big, it looks like. Look at that one here. Maybe I can make an Ensor. There's the Evans. If I can make an Evans, but then I would have to take a lot of these. Well, I don't know. Someone wanted me to make an Evans. I could do it. Except they'd be longer than these. And these are thicker than mine. Yeah, mine's too thin for this. Fairland. Fairland is it's too big for Fairland. Could make something cool like a first view. Yeah, I could make one of these. Sure. Take all freaking day. Frio. Yeah, let's do a Frio because I know how to do those. Yeah, let's do a Frio. Let's get over with. Just do it. Yeah, just do it. Mike Mason says, I'm just too good. The old ones weren't like me. I wish. Let's see. Yeah, you know, a lot of the new guys are thinking that this is a small point. Look at this. Look how small you got it. But then you look in the book and you see a lot of them are smaller. Yeah. But you got to take into account that the more points you make in a set, the smaller they get. Okay? In order to conserve material so you don't waste a bunch of material, you need to pattern yourself after the smallest one in the whole batch. So the more you make, the smaller they get. So that kind of gives you an indication of how many they made. If they're really small, that means they probably made a bunch. And to match each other for good projectile point flight, and to match the pre-made foreshafts, you need to make them smaller on average. I demonstrated that in one of my videos, but I'll probably have to keep saying that over and over again. People don't believe me. But it can be experimentally replicated. Yeah. Beauty. Some serious force involved though. Punching out or pushing out those flakes. Yeah. You can eat the antler for lunch. And I think it's already trying to do it. I think that's good enough. And we're still in good shape. on the pressure flicker, which is good. I'm glad. A little bit too much. I think we're still safe. Okay. Yeah, I think we're still safe, even though I'm blowing that barb out, or the ear. I'm blowing too much off the ear. It still looks like a Frio, so I'm just going to go with it. Yeah, these little spots inside there, so annoying. Okay, it's hard to get little lumps out inside the notch with the antler. Okay, so let's see. It doesn't have to be perfectly symmetrical, but it's got to be close. Okay. That's a little bit better. Yeah. All right. And now center notch. Yeah, like that. Yeah, good enough. Perfect. People often ask me what that notch is at the bottom. It's a glue notch. Yeah. That's what it is. It's a glue notch. That heft is too fat. I mean, it's too wide. What else do I got? Yeah, better. I mean, it's too wide in the notching. It's not too wide as far as the wood width. The notch is too wide on the other one. This is better. There's not much room to maneuver for some reason. Gotta thin it down even more. That's all right. I'm tired of messing with it, so we're just gonna leave it. Yeah, yeah. It's already 2 hours and 3 minutes, so that's it. I'm gonna call it a night. I gotta get up early. So yeah, that's it. One last look at it. The notches a little bit easier than I thought they were gonna be. Although I did blow out one of the ears, it didn't look bad. So you like it? Good, thanks. Alrighty. Yeah, these forks have become gray with the modeling clay. Yeah. Yep. So that's the way it would look like hafted. Does it have translucency? I bet you it does a little bit. Yeah, a little bit. Although my battery's dying, I think. It's got some translucency to it. Georgetown usually does not have much, but sometimes once you get it thinner, it sometimes does. Yeah, the stem is a little bit lopsided. So it won't go in there straight. I think there's some modeling clay down in the bottom. Yeah, there's no room to maneuver. So that means it's still too thick at the base. But, oh well. So it fits either one of these. Just not much room to maneuver. Okay. that's it. I'm going to call it a night. I'm going to check the chat and then we'll see what's going on. Hold on a second. Always takes me forever to find the live stream. It still didn't work. I want the live stream to be part of the screen so it doesn't run away from me. See, my Flintknapping journey says, I can't wait for my finger to heal so I can get back to napping. Yep. Thank you, everybody. Mike Mason says, my pitch turned out tacky and slightly malleable. Appreciate your work. Awesome. Thank you. Okay. I think it will keel. I think this one will keel. Yeah. Yeah. Edges are not too bad. They're sharp enough. Kind of jaggedy, but they're good. Yeah, turned out all right. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to go to sleep. I'm already tired. Yeah, I got to get up early. Oh, I've been working on this. This obsidian blade, remember that? I thinned it out a little bit more today. I didn't think it was possible, but I thinned it a little bit more. Yeah. Off camera. Definitely off camera because it's dicey. And I've got to check it out a little bit more, see if I think I'm done thinning, although I see a thick spot here. I don't want to take a chance. I don't know what to make out of it though. I'm going to figure out something for tomorrow. I mean, it's easily made into a large northern side notch. But I don't know how the notching is going to go. This side gave me trouble, so there's still some nasty spots on this side. But that's the progress on the blade, on the big blade. It will be available. Okay. Mega base tang or corner tang from the obsidian. Yeah, I would do it if they made corner tangs out of obsidian, but I don't think they did. Bill says, Patrick, what tool can I get at Home Depot for indirect percussion? What you use, is that a welding rod? No, these are copper rods I get from eBay. But you can get weldable steel rods from Home Depot or Lowe's. Weldable steel rods, just in that rack with a bunch of steel. They've got steel rods and steel bars of different sizes, but they're called weldable steel. You can use that instead of this for indirect percussion. It does work. I have several videos where I use steel rods instead of copper rods. I just switched to copper because they're so much easier. I made my life easier. But yeah, I still got all my steel tools. You buy the 3/8 inch steel, the 5/16 inch steel, and the 1/8 inch steel rods. They're weldable rods. Let's see. Is 3/8 inch rod the right size for indirect percussion? Yeah, 3/8 and 5/16. That's what I use. Two different sizes. 3/8 is the larger one, and 5/16 is the other one. 12 inches long, but you know, you can use any size you want for length. But yeah, 3/8 and 5/16 seem to work best for this size of point. Now, if you want to do big blades, you know, 8 inches or longer, you might want to get a 1/2 inch copper rod, but they're really heavy. So 7/16 maybe, instead of a full 1/2 inch. If you want to go bigger than this 3/8, go 1/16 larger in diameter. So it'll be like 7/16. But these are the ones I use. Okay? All right. Mike Mason says, yeah, steel rod is what I use. I got aluminum and still use my steel. Yeah. Steel works really well on raw stone and stone that's tough. Which is like what most people have. Chris Lithic says, I only work with copper and hammerstones currently. Chris Lithic, 1002 steel is best. I don't know what 1002 steel is. I forget. It's got to be mild steel. Mild steel. Look it up on the internet. Is 1002 steel mild steel? I don't even know. Let me see. I have a feeling it's not the same thing. But I'll ask. Is 1002 steel considered mild steel? And is it weldable? It's better to get weldable steel. Is 1002 steel considered mild steel? Is it weldable? Okay, that's the question. Or a series of questions. Let's see. Yes, 1002 steel is considered mild steel, low carbon. It falls within the mild steel. Yes, it is highly weldable. So yeah, 1002 steel is good. Thumbs up. Okay? All right. What else? Oops, I missed. I got to go back. What am I doing? You don't like AIs? You're old-fashioned? Well, you're going to get old-fashioned results if you stay old-fashioned. You need to get up to speed and get modern results. What was the site you were reading about from Copper? That's Grok. I have X Premium Plus, formerly Twitter. I have Twitter X Premium Plus, which includes Grok. So I use the Grok's AI for my research. Let's see, I guess that's it. No more questions? Now's your chance. What time do my auctions start? They start at 6 p.m. Eastern or 5 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Mountain Time, which is your time, on Mondays. 4 p.m. Mountain Time on Mondays. And it ends at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, your time, in New Mexico. So from 4 to 7 p.m. on Mondays for you. Yep. Let's see, anything else? Barnett asks, was the center notch designed to work with the corresponding protrusion in the hafting material to keep the point stable? Nope. There's no evidence of a protrusion in the hafting material. So it's a glue notch. That's what I think it was. It's just so you can increase the surface area for more glue. I hope Barnett is still watching. But the notch is a glue notch. It increases the surface area where it's being glued. Logical apostate. Modern ideas equals modern results. What an idea. Oh, yes. I cut up some elk antler today, asks Bill, and it wouldn't flake or break the chert. Maybe it's old. Well, it's just too light, probably. It's very pithy on the inside. So what I do mostly with elk is I cut it into strips. This is elk antler here. I cut it into strips and use them as pressure flakers. So I've got 3 elk antler pressure flakers. They work well. Elk antler is very strong on the surface. The interior is very pithy. So this is what I use elk antler for. Okay? Pressure flakers like this. I just wrap them with this. In this case, it's chamois leather, but it imitates buckskin. Okay? And I made some wooden handles for these, but the antler keeps slipping in the wooden handles. So I just wrapped them. Okay? And I cut these on the bandsaw and, sand them down with a belt sander. But like my billet that I use, this is elk antler. So it's good for billets. Or it can be, I guess. Let's see. Logical apostate. I bet all the artists that drew each page were pissed about digital editing. I don't know. Ed Gould says he's been watching on TV. Awesome. Okay, so yeah, that's the ending of Sunday's live stream, Natural Tools. And we came up with a Frio made of Georgetown flint. And I did use some copper to get rid of some of the little boogery spots. But I also ended up putting in a boogery spot right there with the copper. See that little step fracture? I was doing really well before that without any step fractures, and all of a sudden put one in there with copper. Yeah, trying to do too much. Usually when you get a step fracture is when you try to do too much or you don't have enough force. Let's see. What else? Jim Cooper, what are those? What are you doing? What material is that? Yeah, what are the overshots of... Are overshots a viable technology? What are those? What you doing? Tommy Anderson's very nice Frio, Pat. Thank you. Natural tool Frio. How many times do you get cut by the flakes? Yeah. How many times do you get cut? Because those are sharp, like the sharpest things in the world. That's what I heard on the internet culture. These things are sharpest things in the whole world. That means they can cut everything in the world. No, they cannot cut everything in the world. Tommy Anderson, boogery, another Patrick Knappism. Yeah. Jim says he got to troll Patrick a little. It shows him we care. Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead. Bring it on. Okay, that's it. I'm going to call it a night if there's no more questions. Okay? Take care, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.